Okay,
good. First of all, thank you, Chairperson, for giving me the privilege of using this webinar as an opportunity to explore what I think is an important aspect of the work that we have to do as child and youth care workers. And then my thanks to Lucky who introduced me warmly, and I always feel embarrassed when some of the words that are used to describe me are used in the public terrain. So thank you. My subject is unlearning learnt dependency. There's an adage used frequently in child and youth care training and education. It reads, "There's nothing as practical as a good theory, and nothing as theoretical as good practice." Certainly from practice, there is learning for us as child and youth care workers that we can do if we're able to connect the dots, to connect the patterns of behavior that young people show in such a way as to give us some kind of new understanding, what we call an aha experience. For me, it was first my learning of the dependency and its connections together with other behaviors. And then, through practice, finding models for an educated process of helping young people unlearn learnt dependency. It all started, and that is the trigger of this process for me, was at a staff meeting. A child and youth care worker reported, and I quote, "Yesterday, Roger broke 8 of our small dormitory windows." It was at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, she said, and I was very busy with wrapping up homework with the younger ones. And Roger then said, "I want my homework, I want my pocket money, I want my pocket money, give me my pocket money." And I said, "I can't do that right now, I can give it to you just before supper." And he said, "I want it now. It's mine, and I want it." And the child care worker said, "You'll just have to wait." Roger positioned himself in front of a dormitory window, held up his fist, and said, "I'll count to 10. If you don't have my pocket money given to me, I'll break a window. 1, 2, 3. At 10, he smashed the window with his fist. He broke 8 windows. I asked, was he hurt? Childcare worker said no. He covered his hand with his pillowcase. So I asked, "So what did you do?" She said, "I gave him the pocket money." And then she went on and said, "We've got used to living with this. It's just the way he is." And my response was, "No, that's not what we do. We can't just live with inappropriate behavior. What if he doesn't change? How will it be when he marries?" And the child care worker simply shrugged. Close on that incident, there came a second. I got a phone call. "You'd better come. Come now. Sydney is threatening violence against me and against you." So breathing deeply, I went. He wasn't a big boy. I beg your pardon. He was a big boy. And he was bristling with body tension. His fists were clasped. He was white at the knuckles. And he had a fiery, focused eye. take me home in the minibus or I'll beat you up. It was a Friday. He was due to go to his mother for the weekend. And we had a policy for the use of the minibus. A boy his age had to find his own way. It was as simple as that. And for him, it was a fairly easy ride home. It was just a short train ride. I said to him, we've given you the train money. You know how to get home. You're 17. You've got a choice. You can go or you can stay here for the weekend. I'll beat you up. I'll beat you up. You will take me in the minibus. The bus is not yours. It belongs to us, boys. Welfare gave it to some good enough home for us, not for you. You can't just keep it for yourself. I'll beat you up. There was lots of talking. He calmed down, and we made a one-time agreement that we would drive him to the railway station only. Clearly, in both instances, there was unlearning to be done, unlearning. The common denominator between these two incidents slowly dawned on me. Both boys had come from home environments which survived on welfare handouts. Poverty wasn't the issue in these families, but a breakdown in the family's capacity to maintain itself through their own incompetencies and lack of empowerment and lack of motivation, unemployment, and often alcohol abuse or poor anger management in the workplace. The families became used to living on grants and handouts from the welfare system. I called it a welfare mindset, a worldview that, and I quote, I can't, so government and the world must provide. Once a state beneficiary, always a dependent. In both incidents, the boys showed a lack of ability to what we in child and youth care call a lack of being able to hold off, to be able to wait. One worldview seemed to me to feed the other. Quote, I am owed. I want it, and I want it now. So the question was again, what do we do? What did you do? What do we do? We can't just shrug. I believe that when things for the common good come together at the right moment, it's more than just coincidence. So be it. An educational psychologist asked to sit on our board of management at that very time. And at that very time also, the University of Witwatersrand, where she lectured, had put together 2 learning programs that she thought would benefit Child and Youth Care Center. One was Unlearning Learned Dependency. And she recognized that the center needed a systems change. Basically, her message was we have to slow down, to stop being ourselves as a center, a handout facility. So began the move in practice to unlearn learned dependency. The starting point was clothing. The center had a large storeroom of donated, mostly used clothing. So it was simple. You want clothing? You need clothing? Draw from the storeroom. And so what we did was we changed the storeroom into a clothing shop. And a clothing allowance was introduced both in the form of cash and in the form of vouchers for their use in the on-campus clothing store. So prices were given to the clothing in the storeroom. And the choice for the child and young people then was whether they would buy retail or swap their vouchers for second-hand. We had to start initiating the message that money and goods were earned and not just handed out. So household chores were scheduled on the understanding that contributing into the work of by them contributing into the work of their units, this initiated their pocket money. Pocket money is not allowed to be completely removed in terms of what we are allowed to do ethically as child and youth care workers. So we had a backup which was called make-up chores. Missed one day, you have to do it twice the next. And this was allowed and instituted through discussion and by agreement with the young person who didn't do the chore. And the next came food. Each unit was given a food budget. The first exercise was for them to work out the budget. It was done as a group. They had to ask, what do we need, list it, how much does it cost, and then establish a budget for the month. There was a pattern in which I need sugar. There's no sugar in the jar. I want sugar now. And that kind of reaction was actually the same story as the dormitory windows and the minibus, but not so dramatic. So, do we need to alter the budget? And you will have to wait. We can go shopping tomorrow, and there is syrup in the meantime. Co-regulating, the young people did this food shopping with the child and youth care worker, but with the child and youth care worker teaching them how to shop and do less and less in the actual purchasing. Strict controls had to be put on what was to be taken from donated food. It was a long relearning process in child and youth care practice, because at that time, even the child and youth care workers had expectations of we need, we want, we demand, we get. And then comes holding off, learning patience reasonably. It had to be built into this kind of program. There is a developmental theory based on research as to how long children and young people can be patient. The older you get, the longer you can hold off, the longer you can wait. Now, but I can't remember the progressive hold off times by age, but it was a little formula. So we had to teach through Educare gradually. Wait 5 minutes and I can do it. Or with the older ones, wait 3/4 of an hour. But slowly, starting with a small hold off time and building up to longer times. It all that the practice had to do with shifting so-called welfare children of the state, to a worldview that says money doesn't grow on trees. And so our own effort, your effort is essential for our own survival, your own survival, and the well-being As child and youth care workers, we practice through educare the understanding and empowerment that's needed to move children and young people from dependence to independence. As professionals, this is what we do. And now, there's more work for us to do as child and youth care professionals. In South Africa, I can, to some extent, understand the welfare mind, the welfare mindset, and considering our history of deprived communities and the availability of grants. But today, in the what must we do, it would be easy for us, we have to work on moving the possibility of young people aging out and falling straight back into the welfare system. We have a low employment rate of school leavers. The proof is that 26 million social welfare grants are paid monthly. If you can't find work, what will you do? And I think that in our child and youth care settings, we should perhaps be educating young people into entrepreneurship. The kind of question we need to ask and the practicalities that need to follow are, what do you think you can do to make money without going to government for grants, and especially if you can't find work? And then to try it on a small scale. Again, here's what the child and youth care worker empowerment practice has to do. We have a making ready to go out into the world task without reliant on being handed into. It's what we now have to do. I thank you, and I hope that you found something in this presentation that was going to be of use to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Reverend Barrie Lodge, and thank you for those that applaud. Very powerful and short lessons that we've learned today, and it reminds me about behavior management and all the struggles that we do have in our child and youth care centers. But I like what Reverend Barrie was mentioning there, and my parents also used to remind us that money does not grow on trees, or sometimes they would say not on my shoulders. Just to remind us that we mustn't be so demanding, because we all have that tendency in children, even that are not in our child and youth care centers. They are around us also just say, I want. So thank you very much. We will now open up for questions. You may raise your hand. I'm just going to read in the meantime some of the comments I see. I'll start here. Richmal van Eden from MTR says, thank you. I like the idea of clothing store. It would address the issue of entitlement. Thank you, Barrie, for sharing techniques. It sounds simple, but when done over and over becomes the habit. And the behavior that Barrie describes is typical with children in care. It's important to learn techniques. Yeah, So I'm only seeing one hand here at this stage. It's Tin Kabinde. You may unmute and pose your question.
Thank you very much, Chair and Barry. Thank you so much. That was a very informative and powerful presentation. As I'm listening into what you are saying, as well as incorporating with what child and youth care workers can do, unlearning behaviors for me speaks to also not as child and youth care workers who are supposed to assist these young people to not depend on the government. I think it's about time we also move or have a shift in our practice to say we're not only going to rely on being um, employed by finding employment or looking for a job somewhere or blaming the employer to say they are not giving us, they're not recognizing us. I think as child and youth care workers, we need to come together, have one voice, and say, what can we do to make ourselves recognized? Um, Things like I'm currently exploring that one. Having private practice. Our sister professions have got private practice, and we also, I think, we are quite capable to become private practitioners. I see on Facebook a lot of our childcare workers are exploring giving services to the communities, and yet we are not recognized in terms of our council to have that one documented saying we can practice. So basically, we can just run illegal practices without recognition because we are not yet recognized, or rather, we do not have private practice numbers. So this is my plea to everyone. If we could look into that, we could request for us to get into private practice because I know we can do exceptionally well and we'll be in a better position to empower these young people to not depend on the government, the 350s and everything else. I know ECB as Goleni is doing exceptionally well, but they also need help in our corners. There's a song that NACCW likes that's be bright in the corner. So in all our little corners, we can be bright and assist the programs that are already there, that are running to make sure that we've got a brighter future for our young people and they are quite independent without having to fall into drugs, fall into dependency. And we see young people are abusing their grannies because they want money, they demanding their grannies' monies and everything else. What can we do as this profession? Because I believe as child and youth care workers, we are the experts in making sure these young people, they grow and become better people for our country. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't know, that was questions and comments all together, Ms. Nkabindi. Maybe Reverend Lodge, would you like to respond before we then are going to post the other questions?
Mr. Chair, it's not a question. I just want to.
Oh, yes, Donald.
Yes. Barry is disconnected again. So, yeah, and Michael is working with him to try and get him back on. He is suggesting that we have a discussion amongst ourselves and where we are picking up presence, we can maybe make arrangement that everybody who is on here, they leave their email addresses, and then Barry can respond and it will be sent to everyone.
Okay. Thank you for giving us that sense of direction. Let me just I'll go to the chat box then. There's a here from Amanda says, good morning, colleagues. Thank you for the presentation. It is very informative. Educare program, does it include training of professional staff, the hold of theory so that they can do not give in under pressure? Yeah. Okay, we've got that. I'm not sure if there's anyone that would like to respond to her, but we will forward it, the questions also to Barrie. We're not clear what it is that you refer to professional staff, because we are saying that child and youth care workers practice on auxiliary level and they also practice on professional level. But if you mean it is social workers or other professionals in the child and youth care center, yeah, we do encourage all those that work with children to be trained in behavior management so that we all work together as a team. The multidisciplinary team must, in a way, have the same approach, especially if you implement a program as Barrie has shared with us. I hope I have, in a way, also clarified there. You can just say thumbs up if we will post some more questions, but we will forward it to Barrie. The other question that we have here is from Johannes Letsolo. My question is, how do you do with children who are demanding even when the budget does not allow luxury, but it's meant for basic needs, Northern Cape? Can we ask anyone that would like to respond there, or also make other comments? It's open for discussion. I don't see any other questions or comments further down. Only people saying that they experience network problems. I don't see any other hands up. We seems to be a little bit have some technicality. I know we child and youth care workers are always having some challenges, a lot of challenges with young people in terms of being demanding and all these. How do we manage it? And like Barrie has shared with us, some of them even becomes violent. Anyone that want to share some of the experiences before we then round up? Silence. And then Unati, you may speak. Silence, unmute, please.
Good morning, Chairperson.
Yeah, we're going to give Silence first and then Unati. Silence.
Yeah, firstly, I would like to thank Barrie for the good presentation. And then I'll go straight. Normally, we shy away from discussing these challenges that we normally face, most especially when we meet with a demanding child or a child with the manipulative behavior technique, which manipulates the staff members. It normally doesn't go to child and youth care workers only. It goes across to the MDT members. And then you find that there are a lot of lacking in an MDT members that we can't handle such kind of a child in such a way that the child and youth care worker tend to resort, or they are the only person who are disciplining the child. And then if the child is referred further for further assessment or for further assistance, it turned out to be only one-sided MDT members who are disciplining the child, or who are telling the child or teaching the child about how things are being done, not to depend much or not to display such kind of dependency. And also, the issue of the scenario that you have given, that he highlighted that there is a child who was demanding his pocket money and then he broke the windows. So we do have such kind of children in many institutions, but people tend to shy away to discuss such kind of children in such a way that they don't want to be seen as the weakest, just because they don't want to be seen as people who are not grounded when they come to disciplining the children or telling them the truth that this is how things are done, and then you should wait up until we're done with this and that. I think if we can come up with a better way just to ensure that even the other MDT members attend these kind of sessions so that they can be equipped, so that they can learn many skills on how to deal with the challenges if we've got this kind of a child. And also us as child and youth care workers, that if we are learning, we are unlearning this thing, so that we'll be able to know if there is this kind of a challenge, this is how I should handle it better. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input and comments there, like silence. Yeah. Where's Unati? You may speak. I see you.
I'm here, Chair.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Unati.
Okay, morning to everyone. My apologies. I thought you were asking for silence in class. I was not. It's actually busy. My apologies, Mr. Valoye. Apologies. No, I have a concern also regarding this presentation. I think it's a very powerful presentation, which needs to be properly looked at, especially by the institutions. My concern is regarding, especially here in the Eastern Cape with the government institutions, is that we take these children from the streets or from their homes, and then when they are in our institutions, they are done everything for them, including washing, including ironing. They are not cooking, they are not doing anything, they are just sitting here and everything is given to them. So my concern is that what kind of children are we developing as these institutions? Because once they are out of here, they are going back to their homes. They are expected to do their own laundry. They are expected to do their own ironing. They are expected to clean their homes. How are they going to do those things if they were in an institution maybe for 5 years doing nothing, but when they are released back to their homes, then they are expected to suddenly change. So is it not going to be a problem when we need to change this habit? Because it will be a habit by then, since it has been an issue, or since it has been something that we've been doing for quite a time repeatedly, or in a routine form. So it is a concern that I think it needs to be taken into consideration, even though some of these things are done in order to make sure that there's safety in these institutions, but it is creating a habit that is going to cause a lot of problems for their families when they go back to families. And also we also have a concern with children who usually alleges or complain about child and care workers. Sometimes you feel that when this thing is reported and it is investigated, you find out that there was no such thing that the child and youth care worker has done. But even then, there's nothing that is going to be done about the child. So what steps can a child and youth care worker take if he is alleged of doing something of a misconduct by a child, and when it is investigated, then you find out that there was nothing that the child and youth care worker has done, but they are now supposed to work again with this child who did this or who alleged them of this misconduct. So I just wanted to contribute those two issues, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Unati, for your input and comments. I think Barrie did clarify for us that what one of our goals as child and youth care worker is to teach and educate children from their dependency to become independent. And so there's lots of work that needs to go into that, and some of our programs must be geared towards teaching them that to be independent and to have those skills to make decisions, etc. Yeah. But I see Johannes, your hand is up. You did type your question, but maybe you want to also enlighten and give comments. Johannes, you may speak.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Johannes Letsono from Northern Cape, Challenge Care Worker. Actually, I wanted to also respond to the speaker who just spoke now, talking about the children who are in the institution, that things are being done for them. And normally, I think that one is it can be solved by us, because I'm speaking on the ground of I'm a community challenge care worker. I'm not based in the institution. So whatever we do with the children, we do things with them. We don't do for them. We always, if you teach a child to wash dishes, you do that by calling the child, washing the dishes with the child. I'm gonna wash the dishes. I'm gonna do this and this and this and this. So by doing so, you are instilling responsibilities. So I think the children who are in the institution, we were discussing this with our colleagues, I think a week ago, that most of the children that come from the institution, they don't want to do anything, because now they know that they were depending on someone who was doing with them. Also, coming to the question that I posed, is because normally when you do budgeting with these families, you only look at the basic needs. But now the child will come and say, I need these shoes, I need phone, I need that. And when you look at the budget, remember you came there as a child and care worker. You are not going to decide for the family. So now you pose the question to the family. The child wants this, the child wants this. So if we buy this, how are you gonna guys survive the whole month with this little money that you have? You know, to some extent, other families, you know, they're gonna overpower you and say, no, if the child did this, let's buy that child. Let's buy that, or let's buy the child a phone because he needs a phone. And after that, the same family that you were trying to do budget with is gonna come back to you demanding some food parcels because they don't have food. Then now you go back to them and say, but you guys, I did ask you not to do this because we're gonna get short of food and we don't have food parcels. You see? So most of the children are being influenced outside, seeing other children, the things that they have, the clothes that they wear, and the stuff that they are possessing outside. So they come back in the house, forgetting the situation in the house. What kind of the situation? That's why my question was, how do you deal with these demanding children? Because sometimes you don't take decisions for families. You are there as a child and you play with us to guide them. So most of the decisions must be taken by the family, especially when it comes to finances. For you, you are there to see that they buy certain the things that they really need, paying insurances, buying food that is going to sustain them for the whole month. But now a certain child comes out and say, "I want a phone," and you can't dispute. You're gonna, for you, is just to say, but the budget does not allow to buy a phone. But he keeps on saying, no, I want a phone. So it's the same with the children that are staying in the institution. They are too demanding. That's why I was asking that question. How do you deal with such children who are so demanding that they cannot even see the situation in the house? They only demand because they know my friend or my peers have a phone, my peers is wearing such clothes, is wearing latest shoes, so I also want those shoes. So that's where my question came from. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johannes, for also sharing us about working with the young people in the community-based settings. Yeah. There's now another hand that I see, that is Kululwa Jelwana. Yeah, is that, if I'm correct? You may unmute. And then after you, we will give Lucky Jacobs a chance to also share his views. Kululwa. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. I just want to share some experience of the person that worked in a facility. I think that one thing that we should also consider as child and youth care workers is that we are working with children that are vulnerable, coming from different backgrounds. So sometimes those children can be triggered by us and how we respond to them. Because where I used to work, I've always observed within my colleagues and everyone that I'm working with, because those children's behavior can sometimes be caused by how we treat them and how we talk to them. Because if we're gonna come, talk harsh with them, or don't show that we do care about them, they will actually behave their way. It's very same way. Barrie Lodge that was sharing the news about this young boy and their behaviors. So what I would say is that as child and youth care worker, it's very important for you to build a very good, secured relationship between you and your children that you are working with. And also engage, do some program planning, go out with them, try to learn them, who are they, what is that thing that triggers them, so that you can be able to solve any issues or problem that comes along within your children that you are working with. Another thing, even though we are not their parents, but as a child and youth care workers, we have to act as like their parents. Engage with them, have house meetings, and most especially those who are working in facilities. If you have house meetings and allow them to set their own rules so that they know what is the consequences of any actions that they are doing or taking. It's either in the house or around the whole facility. So I just wanted to comment on that, and also like to add on that as child and youth care workers, we are their second parents. We need to show love to them. We need to respond in a way that we also want them to respond to us as we are working with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Kululwa. Yeah, you remind us about the consequences, the natural consequences and the logical consequences. So it's important for all child and youth care workers, if we want to work in this field, you need to be trained. We can't just come from the street and think that we can manage and do work with children, that we are there to look after them. We are there to be in their life space, and there's a lot of suggestions here. Thank you. Lucky, we hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Afternoon once again, colleagues. This is really a good topic that we are discussing today in this webinar. And from listening to the presentation and listening to the comments of the other colleagues, it really is a very good space to engage in. I just wanted to contribute or to sponsor one or two opinions of mine on this issue. Number one is that, you know, from where I'm sitting, I believe that there's unlearning that Barrie is alluding to needs to be done not only at the level of the young people, so which means not only the young people needs to unlearn these habits, but us also as child and youth care workers, us as the professionals, needs to also unlearn the way that we have been managing this challenge, this young people. So the unlearning for me needs to happen at both levels. For example, the child and youth care workers would run their program in such a way that it disempowers the young people. they are in control of everything. They are running everything, and the young people are just passengers in this program. So we need to unlearn that style of doing things as well. That style of managing young people. So the young people, one of the four principles of the UNCRC speaks to the issue of participation. We need to ensure that the young people participate in decision making, in program design, in day-to-day routines of the program, of the institution, of the services that we are providing to them. Once they become part and parcel of the operations, then they get to understand what is there, what is not there, how does this thing come in. The clothing that Barrie is talking about, how does the clothing get donated? When? For who are they? When they are there, how are they being used? So the young people need to become part of this whole process. If there's money that's coming in for a program, how much? How is it going to be used? Those decisions need to be taken with the young people, so that the young people understand that when they feel the urge or the need to demand or to throw tantrums demanding stuff, then they know exactly if we are saying there is none. They understand that there is none. They are not thinking that we are just being unreasonable and holding things back to them. So I believe I just wanted to sponsor those two items, because once the young people behave, once the young people behave in a way that is so disruptive, it scares so many people. It scares so many people that they don't are afraid of becoming child and youth care workers, are taking on this profession. Some will come in and then they will just be child and youth care workers for a couple of months, for a year, and they think this is not for me. I can't be working in an environment that is like this, stressful. That's the word that they like to use. So I think those are the 2 cents that I actually wanted to sponsor to this discussion. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Lucky, for that insight. I'm not sure if there's somebody whose mic is on. Lucky, you must mute. Thank you. We're now gonna give Yvonne Spandil an opportunity, and after her it will be Donald. I would also ask Donald to make some announcements then after his comments in terms of our next webinar. We've also been invited to a webinar on mentoring with, I can't get to his name now, but Donald will clarify. Yvonne?
Thank you,
Yes,
Alvin,
Yvonne?
for the opportunity. You can hear me clearly?
We can hear you clearly, loud and clear. Thanks.
I also wanted to add on what Lucky was saying. Sometimes we also need to reflect on our own practices as child and youth care workers, because sometimes we also have like behavior that we must unlearn. Like, for example, sometimes, like Lucky has mentioned, in child and youth care centers, child and youth care workers have a certain specific way of how they do things. And some of us has been doing these things for years. And now a new child and youth care worker comes in, and this child and youth care worker have qualified. He's got the credentials to do his work. And now he wants to bring in some new, fresh ideas. And sometimes these new child and youth care workers get discouraged by the older child and youth care workers that are saying, who do you are Who do you think you are coming into this system? We've been doing these things for years in a specific way, and we are not going to change. You must learn our ways because this has worked for us for years. So you cannot now come and change. We have more experience than you. And this is very discouraging to new child and youth care workers coming into the field that wants to practice the things that they've learned. One child and youth care worker was talking to me this weekend and was saying she wants to do activity programming. And she wants to do activities on a weekend with children. And then the older child and youth care workers and even the management is not into it because they've been doing things this way. The children must stay in the institution. The children mustn't interact with the community to keep them safe. So sometimes we do things that is best for us, that is the easy way out, and we are not doing things that maybe that might benefit the children at the end because we want to just play it safe. So this is also just my 2 cents that I want to add to what Lucky was saying. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Yvonne, for sharing also from your experience in the child and youth care field. Thank you very much. Donald, we hand over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I want to agree with what Yvonne had said, because a few weeks ago I was talking to some very new trainee child and youth care workers, all of them youth, who are beneficiaries of the child and youth care services. They grow up in child and youth care centers and they are getting training. And these are young people who understand what would be problems in the child and youth care centers, and we need to give them space. So I want to suggest that for trainings sessions like this that we are having with NACCW, where we try and invite different speakers. It mustn't only end in webinars that we are holding in this way. So after the sessions, we request that you take these recordings and use them in educating the teams that you are working with. It could be in a form of in-service training, or just have some discussion groups where you listen and pick up some of the things here and have discussions on that. That is the way we grow and grow the profession. We must use these recordings over and over so that we benefit from them, because once knowledge is put on a record or it's written, it is there. We just have to pull it and make use of it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Would you like me to move on to announcements now?
Yes, please, yeah, because I don't see any other hands, yeah.
Yes, the next webinar, it's going to be on the 28th of August from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, similar to the time we used today. We hope we will not have technical glitches then. And we have invited Dr. Laura Stakely. She is she will be speaking on a topic which she said it's the therapeutic use of the everyday. And she is saying that everyday experiences shape children's sense of themselves and hold enormous therapeutic potential. How we care for them within those experiences has the power to soothe, to hold, and to repair. It is all the seemingly small caring acts that, when accumulated over time, actually make the difference in a child's life. Many core concepts in child and youth care cast light on these seemingly small acts and show us why they are powerful. This webinar will discuss several of those core concepts with the aim of energizing and inspiring your therapeutic use of the everyday. And if you listen to this, it's very much of a build-up of what we have done with Reverend Barrie Lodge today and our legend. So please do invite others as well to join, because it feels like it will be a continuation of what Barrie had started. So that is the announcement that I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. There was also the one that we posted here on the group from Tom Garford, I think, the one on mentoring. Will we also share it with the others, Donald?
Yes, yeah, we will make it available. If you have not received the recordings, please write to us, write to anyone you know at NACCW, and then we'll make sure that you get those recordings.
Yeah. Thank you. Just a last comment here from Dominic. Children may show challenging behaviors in an attempt to gain attention and responses from adults. For some children, even negative attention is preferable to no attention at all. Young children are also easily distracted and have short memories, which may be why sometimes they don't do what you ask them to. Thank you for that comment there from Dominic. That would then share with us. Good people, it brings us then to the end of our session today. We humble our apologies that we have this little bit of breakdown. I think we will have to recall Reverend Barrie Lodge, because some of us still needs more food, because we've got big appetites, because he dishes a little bit today and then he did. But we will have to sort him out and get things ready. But in his absence, I'm going to ask also past chairperson here from border, because we closed the border, Unati Blackie, to do the vote of thanks before we then close. And in absentia, he will also extend a word of appreciation to the Reverend Barrie Lodge. Unati, can I hand over to you, please?
Afternoon, Chair. I hope Julius Malema will not hear you saying you are closing borders. That will close the border. Afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege as Unati Blake from the Eastern Cape to be doing the vote of thanks today for the presentation, which was very fruitful, Unlearning the land dependency. It's something that is very difficult to do, because it is a habit that we have learned over a long time. So it's not easy to just unlearn it. So we really need to be patient with our children, and we also need to learn from this. So I want to concur with Yvonne in what she said, that even us as the workers, it's our duty to learn or to unlearn some of the dependencies or some of the habits that we have. And there's a quote by Warren Buffett which says that chains of a habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. So we might not feel them at the moment, these habits, but it will not be easy for us to break them. We need to be very patient as child and youth care workers, and we need to ensure that we do all that is in our best to make sure that we unlearn these habits, and we also encourage or teach our children to unlearn this dependency. We can't go back to the beginning and change what has already happened, but we can start from now so that we can change the ending. We cannot change the beginning, but we can change the ending. That said, Mr. Chair, I would like to say thank you very much for chairing the meeting, and also thank you very much to Mr. Jacobs, who was our guest speaker, who introduced our guest speaker, and also to the Deputy Director for making time and gracing us with his presence during this meeting today. I would also like to thank the Reverend Mr. Barrie Lodge, who is a stalwart, who is a legend, was also an encyclopedia for us as child and youth care workers. With that said, this was a very fruitful presentation by him, which we are looking forward to our next presentation, to our next webinar. Also, thank you very much to everyone who joined us, who took time for an hour and a half to be with us today. Thank you very much to all the members who have joined. I think we had around about 50 attendees today, which it's a good number. I hope we'll take whatever we learned today and go back to our working stations and make sure that we utilize and we use it. Thank you very much, everyone. Please enjoy your lunch. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Yeah, thank you very much, Unati. You're sending us back to workstations again. And also thank you for sharing those beautiful quotes that you have shared with us in going forward. Members and those visitors that are here with us, we will then join together in August. We will inform you about the time slots and the link, and hope to see each other then soon. We'll keep you updated. Thank you. May you have a good day further. God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye.